Microsoft shared a few more details about xCloud today. Let's dive in. What's up, everybody? Brad here, back again. Microsoft is at the Game Developer Conference. Yes, the same one where Google unveiled their streaming platform to talk about Project xCloud. Now, keep in mind, this is a game developer conference, so they're not going to be pulling back the curtains on the final product or anything else like that. They are targeting developers, getting them excited for what Microsoft is working on. And so thanks to users on Twitter like Russell Holly, who were live tweeting and sharing slides and everything else from several different people, we can get a better look at what Microsoft is talking about. Again, this is targeted at developers. This isn't a full reveal. This is just giving us a few more nuggets of information about the strategy Microsoft is taking. And so what I've done here is I've got them all ready for us. So let's just dive in. One of the things that Microsoft is making really important, and saying this over and over again, is that they're targeting the Xbox game user base. Now, the reason why I say that is because Microsoft is in clear language saying that if you've built an Xbox game, it will work in xCloud already. What they call console native games are already working in xCloud, which is massive for Microsoft because that means on day one, they are going to have a huge library of games that are already up and running for Project xCloud. They're just, you can't say it any other way. There's no additional codes needed. Now, Microsoft is not dense. They know that some developers might want to make their games a little bit more or what they call glass friendly, which is, think of it playing it on glass, like on your phone, on a tablet, or anything else like that. So they are offering things like they call the touch adaption kit, which we will take a look at here as well. And they're also doing things like what they call cloud aware, which makes it available, or makes the platform know what type of device you're running on. This is actually pretty cool, to make it a little bit more device friendly rather than just having one experience for everything. Cloud Aware makes it a slightly different experience for maybe a small phone, slightly different experience for a large tablet, and all that good stuff. But the key to take away from this video, this conversation, is that console native games are going to work day one with Project xCloud. Now, when it comes to multiplayer servers and all that good stuff, they know that latency is an issue. It's a latency issue today for multiplayer, but what they're going to allow you to do is make it a little bit more friendly by helping people who are on the same server match up. More than likely, if you're running with a guy on the bus and you're both playing the same game, based on how Microsoft is presenting this, you will more than likely get tossed into the same server, which is good for latency. It's just a small little thing, but again, it's just trying to make a pitch to developers that they are aware. Now, here's the big thing to understand, what Microsoft is calling the touch adaption kit. If you look at the screen and think, man, that's kind of busy, you're not alone. Microsoft realized this because if you look at the Xbox controller, it's pretty dang complicated with the number of buttons that are needed to be replicated. Now, for developers that aren't going to update their game, this is going to be the default experience. It's just going to be like, okay, if you're not going to build out for your game, we're just going to slap on the default skin, and this is what you're going to get. This is going to be how Microsoft lays it out. But for developers who are willing to take that next step, they can actually adjust the controller layout on the screen based on the device. Again, this is that cloud aware touch adoption kit working in conjunction. And you can see here for a game like a side scroller, you don't need as many buttons and functions. And so you can just use the D-pad and just the buttons on the right. Again, this is just being smart adaption of using it on glass. And we can also see here, the other thing that you need to take into account is that there's natural user input. For example, if you're playing a battle royale game or something like that where you see a map, especially on a phone, you are used to pinch to zoom. This touch adaption kit will make that functionality available to the user. This is pretty key because trying to zoom in using glass controls can be a little clunky, but by bringing back those gestures that we all know, it makes it a lot easier to use on a mobile device. And same thing with context menus, making the text a little bit larger and all that stuff ties into this cloud aware, because they know that if you're using a small device, you're going to need slightly larger text so your eyeballs don't go bad like mine are from staring at screens all day long. So it can make the text a little bigger and make things a little bit better here. So moving on, Microsoft is actually already saying that the hardware for xCloud is arriving in its data centers. This is one of Microsoft's key assets, is that they have data centers all around the globe, and that xCloud servers are already shipping to these things, which means Microsoft is gearing up pretty quickly for this stuff. And then here we go. Microsoft is detailing out what these cloud-aware game enhancements are real specifically here. So you got provide custom glass controls, which we talked about. There's also another aspect to this that we haven't talked about yet, that Microsoft went into detail saying, hey, you need to be able to dynamically control what controls are on the screen as well. This is pretty neat. And what I mean by this is, imagine you're playing Halo and you're running around shooting people and all that good stuff. Then you get into a Warthog. Well, you need different controls, and you may not need all of the buttons on the screen. So what Microsoft can do with their Cloud Aware feature is dynamically change those controls so that when you're in the Warthog, you don't have unnecessary buttons on the screen cluttering things up. It's just a smart little thing. You can adjust the font size, the co-location of servers. But one of the other things, too, that Microsoft is working on is that they anticipate that gamers are going to have shorter gaming sessions, which makes sense because you think about it, people expect xCloud stuff to be played maybe on a bus or something like that. They're expecting cloud sessions to be shorter than traditional console sessions. So things like in open world scenarios where you have to go to a specific point to save need to be reconsidered because a user might only play for 5-10 minutes while they're riding the bus, and they might not have time to get over there, so they need to be able to save. And so these cloud save points need to be more integrated into the process. But what you should take away from this is that Microsoft is going all in on making sure Xbox games run natively in xCloud on day one. They've already got the library. They're figuring out how to make it look better on a phone. They've got dynamic controls. That is a big feature because it's something you don't think about. The other thing we didn't say is that if you use a phone linked to a controller like this with Cloud Aware, it won't put the on-screen buttons up. That's a really nice feature because then you don't have that overlaid crap. You just have the game and you have your controller and it's not there. That's a really unique feature and something that will help enhance the xCloud experience. So Microsoft isn't obviously talking a whole bunch about this, but they did say that the SDK for this service is going to be available soon. And if you're not familiar with that, that is the software development kit for xCloud. Once that gets out into the wild, we can crack that open and take a look at the really granular features, such as how they're dealing with latency and everything else. So Microsoft talked about this at a higher level at the Game Developer Conference. And the thing I think Microsoft was trying to get the takeaway is that if you have an older Xbox game, they're going to make it work on xCloud with their default controller setup. But if you have the ability and the time, they're making it very simple to integrate the touch adaption kit and the Cloud Aware APIs to give that experience just a little bit better. And I've been hearing for a while now that Microsoft is going to require this touch adaption kit and Cloud Aware APIs going forward on all Xbox games. So every next generation game will have this functionality built in. This is solely for games that have shipped yesterday that Microsoft is bringing to the platform to make it a little bit better for tomorrow. xCloud, we're going to hear a lot more about this at E3. It's getting exciting, guys. Have a good one.